guys, how's it going? Today we're going to start off by planting some urns here in the portico. When we're finished with that, we're going to head to the brick patio area. We've got those 4 large containers at the corners of the patio that we're going to plant, as well as some stuff in the ground, and that center container that's got the big beautiful red bud in it right now. We're just going to make some minor tweaks to that one, and then I'm not sure where we're going to move on from that, probably more planting somewhere. But we recently finished these 2 containers on both sides of our great room doors here. Douglas, what are you doing? And right when we got done, I thought, you know what? I think these would be beautiful if we had a trio. If we brought in another pot, an urn that's a little bit taller. And then right after that, we received our load of shrubs from Spring Meadow Nursery. And this is the Fairytrail Green Hydrangea. And I thought, oh my gosh, would that not be the most perfect thing to go in the urn? With or without some double up pink begonias, which is what we have in the other 2. Let's see. I've got a little bit of soil in here. It might be that we just leave it on its own. It looks so gorgeous right there. Let's see what it looks like. Some of the, yeah, that looks pretty too. Yeah, kind of like with the little pink. Kind of makes it look like a finished thing, doesn't it? I think so. So the Fairytrail Green Hydrangea is a type of cascading hydrangea where they have more kind of weeping branches, which is really fun. So the Fairytrail Green Hydrangea is part of a Fairytrail series. There are 4 of them in there, and I think we've got all 4 here. There's Fairytrail Bride, White, Green, and Fresco. We planted the Fairytrail Bride in the ground last year, actually underneath the fountain we're going to plant today, or the fountain base we're going to plant today, and I'll show them to you. One of them didn't make it through the winter at all. There's 2 of them that look like there's barely any growth, and then there's one that's like okay. So I don't know. It might be a situation where maybe they do better in containers. These also won't receive as much sun as those did up there. And I did have issues with them burning up there this year. So it's just going to be, I think, trying to find that niche spot in the garden where they like it. And in this space, we're already past the time in the morning where they get a little tiny bit of sun, but the rest of it is just bright shade. So I think they'll be really happy, and I know that they won't scorch as bad this year as they did last year. The Fairytrail Green grows about 4 feet tall and 4.5 feet wide in the landscape, and it's a zone 6 through 9. And they bloom in the spring, as opposed to waiting. You know, some hydrangeas don't bloom until late summer. So anyway, I think that's really fun to be able to have that bloom interest through most of the season. I also brought up a Raven sweet potato vine because I thought maybe it'd be pretty to tuck some darker foliage color in there. I don't know. We're just going to plant these up, see how it goes. Project number 1 complete, and they look beautiful. I love this. I was kind of thinking like a chartreuse Japanese maple initially before we got our shrub load in, but I think that that would have fought with the texture of our ferns here. So having something that's still that chartreuse color brightens up this whole area, and the different texture here is really nice. Now I only had 8 of the double up pink begonias left, but that worked out. I used 4 per container, just kind of spread them out. And as you saw, I planted those prior to putting the hydrangea in. I didn't want to risk breaking any of these branches toward the bottom. And it gets a little riskier when you plant something in there and then have to work around them. So that worked out really nicely. And I just think they're so pretty. Oh, look at that. Just love this combination this year. Love it. So peaceful. Okay, next up is the brick patio area, and we're mostly just amending what we planted there in the spring. Here we are. So the goal today is to plant up the 4 brick containers at each corner. We had pansies in them. Bethany came through and cleared those out and took all the pansies home. So we're ready to go with planting these. And we're also going to just amend this planter. I have enjoyed this one so much, and the red bud is doing so beautifully that I think we're just going to kind of clean up what's here a bit and replant just some color around the exterior. I think I'm going to pull out this lemon coral sedum. It's kind of bolted and gone to flower. So I'll get rid of that. I'm going to clean up the heucherella, and then we're just going to be left with a little planting space on each side. And this has always been kind of a tricky area because it gets, full sun for a good part of the day until, early to mid-afternoon, and then it starts getting into shade. But this side is pretty much always in the shade. So if you want it to be cohesive, in the summertime at least, it doesn't matter as much in the spring and fall for light requirements, but in the summer, you have to plant something in here that can handle both sun and shade. So anyway, I think it's going to be good. We're going to leave the red bud. We're going to leave the heuchera because I like the leaf texture in here. We're going to leave the junipers. And then what is this? Ball gown, I think. And then these are the Fairytrail brides. So I planted 4 in between each one of these boxwoods. And this one came back like with some blooms. I think we'll dig this out and maybe put it in a pot or relocate it somewhere. I pulled that one out, and then the other 2 just have a little bit of growth at the base. Could have to do with the location, the pH, who knows. And then right over here, you might remember all the pansies we had planted in this bed with the Dusty Miller that we started from seed. So we removed the pansies, left the Dusty Miller, and my plan is wherever there was a pansy, we are going to plant the Surefire White Begonia. I think this is going to be such a beautiful, peaceful blend. And then along the edge, I had just like a little hedge of pansies. I think we're going to come in with a lemon coral. So it'll be chartreuse, blue, and white. I think that's going to be just the most peaceful thing. And I'm hoping we have enough Surefire White Begonias to ring around each one of these boxwoods. Hopefully. If we don't, we might have to steal some of the Surefire Rose. But you guys, these Surefire Whites I had ordered to go underneath the Red Point Maples this year. And because we were unable to, well, I was able to plant, but we figured it was going to be the last year that I was going to be able to dig holes because of all the roots of the maples. So I went in with Lamium instead, which opened up all of these Surefire Whites, which ended up being perfect for this area because they can do sun or shade, which as you can see right now, this pot and this pot are in the sun, but this pot and this pot are in the shade. And that changes throughout the whole day. So anyway, I think we'll start with the in-ground planting first, and that will let us know how many Surefire Whites we have left to work with for the corner pots. I'm really happy with how it's coming together so far. We got this planting area done and the 4 pots at the corners. Look at that. Didn't that just turn out so peaceful? And I love that 1, we started all the Dusty Miller from seed, and 2, they can go from spring to summer to fall, sometimes all the way through winter. And it's just such a cooling accent plant. I just love that. especially when you add in that brilliant glossy green and the bright white blooms, and then the little hedge of lemon coral along the edge. Oh, and then in the containers, I kind of mirrored it a little bit, minus the Dusty Miller. At first, I just did a ring of Surefire white begonias around the boxwood, and there just wasn't enough difference. I felt like we needed to have a different texture, a little pop of color. That chartreuse just really does pop. Look at that. So I did 4 lemon coral and then 2 Surefire whites between each sedum. And I just did a repeat in each one of the pots. Isn't that pretty though? Oh, now this one is going to be the true test because this pot gets the most amount of sun out of all of them. And both of these plants, well, of course the sedum can handle and likes a lot of sun. And the Surefire white begonia has been a really good one to tolerate both sun and shade. But I think of all the places that we have used it, this is going to be the spot where it gets the most amount of sun. I want to say like, I'm looking at the tree canopy, it might get a little bit of shade at the very, very end of the day. Oh, or when the sun goes behind a cloud. Kind of feels nice. The sun is warm today. They all look just so pretty. I love them. So peaceful. Okay, so this is the next area we are going to tackle, and I'm going to mirror it quite similar to what we just did. I think I'm going to pull the hydrangeas. I'm going to do a little hedge of lemon coral, and I'm going to backplant with Surefire white begonias because those will stay, I think they grow like 12 to 24 inches tall. And I don't think that they ever got to the 2-foot mark for us, not yet anyway. Maybe they will in this spot, but even then I think it's going to be low enough to where you'll still see some of the fountain base, which is what I've loved about this arrangement thus far. You can still see, you know, some structure in there. Last year it started out gorgeous. We had a beautiful blend of coleus and gara and sweet potato vine and begonias in there, but by the end of the season you couldn't even tell one plant from the other basically, and you couldn't see the planter at all. And I don't want to repeat that this year. I want to keep everything a little bit more tame. So we'll see how we feel after we get the bottom planted up. We might just repeat Surefire white begonias in the open spots, or I might go get some double up white begonias, which have a little bit of a darker foliage color. I don't know, but I kind of want to keep it in the same theme and have this whole area coordinate. And I think it's a really pretty color combination for this space, given the fact that we are moving into very bright red and dark purple colors in the Hartley area. If I did like pink over here, I just felt like, I don't know, I've got pink going in the pond area, like on that berm over there. And I kind of want the red to not fight with anything, if possible. Yeah, look at that. Look at this blend. It's going to be so pretty. It already is. The sedum's looking great. Superbena just needs a chance to grow a little bit. You can see the red and purple right there. Oh, and one of the dahlias is opening, so you can see truly what color it is. The pictures do not do this plant justice. They look a lot brighter than they are. I mean, they're a bright red, definitely, but they've got a very burgundy sort of note to them. There's a depth there. I think that's why I like that dahlia so much. It's got a cool note to it. You know, reds can be either cool or warm, and I don't feel like that's a warm red. It doesn't like have an orange undertone to me. Okay, let's get this area all done. Well, that turned out beautifully. I absolutely love it. And I love all of the plants that are still in this container that we're able to carry on through the season. So what we ended up doing was pulling the lemon coral and of course the pansies, and I replaced those with 3 of the Surefire white begonias and then 2 Dichondra silver falls. So we drew in a little bit of that blue color from the other flower bed into this arrangement. And I just did that on all the sides. They all look the same. So you can see the 3 Surefire whites, 2 Dichondra. And these plants, all of them, should be able to handle the various light that this container gets. Boy, I could have done a better job cleaning that one up. And then down below we have a ring of lemon coral sedum and then a circle of Surefire white begonias. We had just enough. I used up every last one of my white begonias and almost all of the lemon coral sedum. I thought I was going to use 4 lemon coral between each boxwood and I had exactly 16 left, but I ended up only using 12. So now I've got 4, which I think what I would like to do next is finish up all the pots right behind the Hartley. We still have a few empty ones and I was going to use some lemon coral in a couple of them, or at least one. So that worked out great. I just love this whole space. It's just so darn peaceful. We sit here every single night. Like every single night, this is where we sit. The kids kind of mess around in here and we just enjoy it because this is always a nice shady spot. One day, maybe we'll figure out a different area to park our trucks. I just wish it wasn't such a convenient spot. But you know, when you're bringing groceries home, you don't want to haul them any further than you have to. And it's already a bit of a walk to get them into the kitchen. If we parked behind the barn, which is the other place where we could park, that would be a long way. I don't know if we're up for that kind of effort, but I'm just loving it. I'm loving how this whole area is turning out. Now I just need to wait for a sale to buy more of these chairs. I absolutely love these chairs. I got them through Front Gate and it took me a long time to pull the trigger because Front Gate is not the cheapest place, but honestly, these are so heavy. They are heavy, heavy duty. And I have the hardest time finding legs. It's mostly legs of furniture, and I wanted the backs to look pretty because you see them, you know, from this side. I don't know why that was a thing for me, but I would love to have 2 more chairs to put like maybe over here with a little table and maybe a couple more here. So it's like this whole seating area, but we couldn't have done the circle any bigger because we knew that we were going to be putting furniture here and probably around, and we still wanted plenty of room to walk and to like pull a wagon if we needed to. But let's walk over here and take a look at this whole space. Okay, so here it is. And then we look up and it's still cohesive, utilizing the same plants, very peaceful, and I think everything's going to do real well. I also need to decide what I want to plant below these pots. Whatever it is, I kind of want it to be the same for all 4. Again, it needs to be something that can handle both, you know, sun and shade. So we'll have to just see what happens there. I kind of want it to be more of like a perennial ground cover sort of situation. Anyway, let's take a look at these pots behind the Hartley. Be nice to get those done. We ran drip to all of them the other day when we were working around this area. So we've got this little guy, which I actually thought lemon coral would be pretty in, and I only think we need 1 in that little pot. I think that the contrast would be high and beautiful. I ended up having to pop the drip out of these containers because they were staying way too wet. I think what I need to do is like cut the drip line in half. Instead of having 6 emitters, just have 3. But I love how these turned out. Love them. Okay, so then the other day we picked up a Japanese maple, a red dragon. I was going to pop that in this container. And then I also picked up this really interesting blue gem mountain plum pine, which I just thought was a really unique texture. I think it's really interesting. And then we've got 2 other pots right here. And I'm thinking just single specimens in every single container would be really nice, really simple. So we really just need to bring over 1 lemon coral, maybe 2 lemon coral. Because what if we popped this one up in here, put a lemon coral down here, and then had something else right in here? That would be nice. Okay, so we need 2 lemon corals and we need 1 more something for the tall, skinny pot. I'm actually sad that these are the only 2 I have left. This is Erin's favorite annual and it's quickly becoming mine. I don't know if it's just the mood I'm in this year, but I'm loving like the tidy growth habit. I'm loving the pop of chartreuse, and it's just an easy keeper. Don't have to fertilize it. Don't really have to do anything with it. So look at that. That'll be such a beautiful soft cushion right there. And over on this side, we'll pop this one in this container here. Maybe, I don't know, you guys, maybe not. This is a really similar texture. I don't know if I like that. Let's do something different. Maybe something with a flower. Okay, I need to go get soil and 2 plants. So in the smaller container, yeah, I think this is better. A chocolate drop coleus right here. Isn't that beautiful? And then a Fairytrail white hydrangea. I think they're all gonna be beautiful. Let's get them planted up. All done. We got the lemon coral in this container looking so bright. I love that. Ooh, I like that. She's got rocks lined up on every brick. White and black rocks. Beautiful, babe. And then we got our red dragon Japanese maple all potted. That looks so pretty right there. I love that. And then over here, just a very simple grouping. We've got the Fairytrail white hydrangea. We've got the plum pine, chocolate drop coleus, and then our mangave. That's the moon glow mangave. This one I'm gonna have to keep trimmed because this one grows like nuts. It's crazy. It's a crazy coleus. It looks all dainty and sweet right now, but it will become a monster here pretty quick. Oh, an obsidian. Very nice. Yeah. I love it. All right, guys, we are going to tackle one more project today. I've got some Super Tunia Vista bubblegum and purple fountain grass that I would like to put in a flower bed area because I think it will be very, well, it'll fill it up and it'll be very striking. Purple fountain grass, which grows what, 3 feet? Yeah, 30 to 36 inches tall. Gets the big, beautiful plumes. And then of course the Vista bubblegum, it's classic. Bright and cheerful, and it just is a very aggressive, vigorous plant. Produces lots of blooms, fills up a space. Like our new garden ornament, the cozy coop. It just shows up in random spots. The pansies here in the Persephone garden will be the last thing that I swap out for annuals. They just look so cheerful right there. Ugh. But they won't once it gets really hot. I've been tempted to plant some Vista bubblegums or something like that in this space, but I really need to leave it open so that I get my structural plants in. If I plant annuals, then it will push that off for another year. Can't do that. Okay, thinking right here. So we recently, brought these pots out here, which are in the pink and purple family. And Paul was out here this morning, got them all leveled up, got them hooked up to drip, which is wonderful. But we've also got some stuff that will grow in this area. There's some Invincible Ruby hydrangeas in here. There's a Weigela we just recently planted. We've got a little hedge of rhubarb. And if we decide to keep the pots here, and this is why I am going to plant annuals in this spot, we will probably redirect the pathway to come out this way, which means we will probably need to relocate the rhubarb and possibly even shift this depending on the trajectory of the pathway. It might just come out right here. Anyway, either way, we're kind of locked in for this year, I feel like. So I want to pop some of those ornamental grass right in here and some bubblegum for some color. Oh my goodness, this just caught my eye. We got to go look at it. Whoa. This is the reminiscent pink rose. Isn't that gorgeous? I knew it was budded, but I didn't know that it had started to bloom. Oh my goodness. Such a beautiful plant. And I like the size and the shape. We've got 3 of them right here. And this is the south side of the plant, so I think this side's blooming first. But I mean, it's loaded. I mean, look at all these buds. Oh, we've got a little bit of color up here. Oh, I'm just so excited. Fun. Boy, we need to work on this spot too. Oh, and the first Evelyn bloom of the year. Oh, smells awesome. Okay, we're gonna place and plant. all done and it looks beautiful. Look at this space. Now I did pop one here and one in here just to kind of start in with the idea of the pink. I had one of our Stokes asters not come back this spring, so I just decided to pop, I don't know, one of those in. I don't know if I'll be able to divide one of these or get my hands on another one. Or I've got some opalescence phlox on the back side, so I could pop one of those in. Just whichever I get my hands on first, but for now we just filled in the gap and then just started in a little bit heavier, but we can spread them out quite far because these plants really do fill in. And we've got, what, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 grasses going on in here. Started with one, got a little bit thicker with them, and then ended with one beyond the evergreen there. But it just looks so bright and happy over here. I love it. And just give it like 1 month, and it's gonna look wildly different than it does right now. It's fun to plant annuals and even experiment with different colors of annuals in areas that you know you're not gonna be tackling in that specific year, like this space right here. I've got much bigger projects going on, like the big front flower bed, the whole Dreamstream area back behind it. We've got to, do all of those things. And then big areas like this, on the other side of this flower bed that have stayed empty for a while. So I'd rather focus on those larger areas, get those done, and then we can make some decisions about these smaller areas. But for now, we get to just enjoy the color and the plants in this space. And then we can decide, like, do we like pink here? Should we go with some pink perennials in here? I love that too. I remember when on the west side I was thinking of putting a moon garden in right there. And I planted it with annuals first, using all whites and greens and things, and then discovered that that just wasn't, at least for that spot. I love moon gardens, but that spot, it just didn't work at that point in time. And I was so happy that I hadn't invested in perennials before I had learned that about myself or about that particular spot. Anyway, I'm super happy with everything we got done today, starting off with the urns in the portico. It almost feels like that was a different day ago. We got through a lot today. And then the whole Surefire white begonia area, the pot spot and the Hartley are all done. And now this space is done. I love it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.